Okay, great seeing everybody. Really appreciate everybody being here. We're preparing for our game on Sunday night. We're excited, looking forward to it, and we've got a lot of work to do. What questions do you have?
John, obviously we weren't there yesterday to be with you for the Browns-Steelers game. Any way you can reenact your reaction to that the fourth down pass that kind of sealed the Browns' win?
Thanks for asking. Is there something out there on that? Oh, good.
We can only imagine.
Yeah, good. Yeah, there were phones. We had the coaches came over and some players came over to the house, and you know, it was probably like a lot of fans. You know, we had to watch it, and there was plenty of times where I wasn't watching it. You know, sometimes it's, you know, someone told me at one point in time, "Don't move." You know, a couple good plays that happened. I wasn't allowed to move, but we had fun. But it was also, you know, it was a nail biter, and great job by the Browns. Obviously, a lot of respect for our division. You know, our division is a very tough division, hard-fought games in our division across the board. All four of these teams know how to play each other, and that was a great example of AFC North football, really. So we're appreciative of the opportunity that it affords us, and it's our job right now to prepare for it.
How do you kind of look at it when you have, you know, you and Pittsburgh, you guys have gone at it for years in this division. I'm sure neither of you have had the seasons you thought you would have, but here you are, in the last week of the season, playing for the division. I mean, is that kind of, you always say it's a week-to-week league and the NFL season is unpredictable. Does that kind of fall into that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity. We'll be playing a division championship game on Sunday. You know, that's what we're doing in the last week of the season. We're excited about that, and it's a meaningful thing, you know. And so we've worked hard to get to this position. And there's a lot of different paths in football, you know, and there's a lot of different paths in life. And this is the path of the 2025 season. So here we are, and you know, our goal is to make the most of it.
John, do you expect Lamar to be able to play this week, or is that still to be determined?
Yeah, well, it's to be determined. You know, I mean, still he's coming off a very serious injury, and he's working at it. Saw him in here today working at it. So I think we'll know a lot more on Wednesday.
Coach, have you had a chance to be with the team? I mean, did you speak to the team about this opportunity that was presented to them?
No, we haven't met yet. Today's well, it's an official off day today. Tomorrow will be on our normal schedule. Since we play on Sunday, Jerry, we're on our normal week schedule. So we'll talk to him about tomorrow.
Might you go lighter with the hitting this week, knowing the physicality that the Steelers-Ravens history brings?
Well, you must have been watching the shows. Coach Cowher talked about that. I happened to see that because I was watching TV this weekend, unlike other weekends. You know, we don't really, I mean, at this point in time of the season, we haven't been in pads for about 3 weeks now. The rules don't really allow you to be in pads too much, but also we haven't wanted to be. We haven't needed to be. We will focus on technique for sure, blocking technique and all the different things that we do, but it's not this point in time of the season when there's not a lot of hitting that you do in practice anyway. So it's kind of where we're at.
John, could Justice Hill return for practice this week?
Possibility. I'll probably know more about that closer to Wednesday, but we haven't discussed that yet today.
John, with Tyler Huntley, you know, you talked about him when you guys brought him back here. Obviously, he'd been here, you know, a number of years and then went away. And then he comes back. What gave you guys the belief and trust in him? You know, we've seen how he's played in these sort of must-win games this year, and how have you sort of seen him grow, you know, to this point in his career? Well, you know, it's just a compliment. I think a credit to him and what he's been doing really since he got into the NFL. He was a hard worker, you know, when he came here. And had a couple opportunities, as you remember, you know, and did pretty darn well, you know, for the most part, and kind of showed he had a chance, and then went into other places and continued to grow and improve. I feel like there was noticeable improvement, you know, in different aspects of his game. He'd be the first to tell you that, I know, and then, you know, when he came back in, you know, we'd watched him on tape. We'd seen him on games from last year and then preseason tape this year, but when he came back in,
just because the opportunity presented itself. You know, he was available, and it was just really an opportune type of a thing for us. And he looked good in practice. You know, he looked like, wow. You know, I tell you, Snoop's come a ways. He's improved, and he was good before. So to see it come to fruition in these games and to win these big games is really awesome. You know, it's just incredible and nice, wonderful, and he deserves it, and we're definitely appreciative of it. I mean, the guys rallied, played great football around him, and he played a heck of a game.
Maybe be one of those noticeable improvements.
Well, I mean, I just think it's just operating the offense, you know, for sure. Decision-making at the line was really good. You're in Lambeau. It's loud. It wasn't perfect. We had a couple pre-snap things, but nothing too damaging. Ball handling, I thought was good. Ball security, protected the football. Made good decisions where he put the ball, throwing it. Got the ball out, you know, really in good rhythm on the because they were mostly all rhythm passes. Got the ball out on rhythm. All those things were it's definitely a step up. Probably, you know, as he in his career, I'd say continued to climb with.
John, I know Lamar didn't practice all last week, but throughout the week, with the back contusion, was there improvements? Were you told were there improvements with him throughout that week, though?
Yes, absolutely. There was improvement throughout the week. I mean, it was not good at all early in the week, and it improved as the week went on, and that was cause for you know, optimism.
Will the final decision come down to the training staff and consulting with them? Is that who will make the decision?
It's what it always is. The doctors and training staff, the coaches aren't deciding, you know, who plays from a medical standpoint.
The effectiveness that you have seen from Snoop in his 2 starts, does that change the calculus at all? I mean, if Lamar is kind of close to ready, but you're not sure, like, do you push it or not push it? The fact that you have a lot of confidence in Tyler, does that play into that, or?
No, I think the fact that we have a lot of confidence in Tyler is a real big positive, a real plus, but it doesn't factor into whether Lamar plays. If Lamar's ready to go, he's playing. That's it, for sure.
John, through all the excitement, post-game, you did acknowledge kind of the shock of how the defense played. Now, having reviewed the tape, you know, what did you make of that? I mean, you talked about big plays. You know, was there a theme? Was there something that really jumped out as far as why that was happening?
Yeah, there was. I mean, it was just technique. It was technique in the back end, really, you know, corner position, you know, and it wasn't anything. It wasn't really across the board. It wasn't any kind of miscommunications or anything like that. We played things right. We just didn't play them. We didn't play the pass game well from a coverage standpoint in the back end. It was really the outside lane throws that you saw made. They were just too easy. You know, we didn't cover them well. And then quarterback getting out of the pocket. You know, we got him a few times, but he got out a few times. You know, he's elusive, but a couple of those were more our fault. You know, just our rush lanes weren't as good as they needed to be, and sometimes it was getting him down too. He got out of our grasp once or twice. So those are the 2 things that were very much pinpointed to the problem in terms of the yards that were given up. We had one. I'll say this: we had one seam route. The first touchdown was a seam route against cover 2 that we didn't play that right and or well, and it honestly too, you know, it wasn't a great call against that route. So I'd say those are the 3 things.
John, I know you guys always have a pretty diverse run menu, but just the effectiveness of the zone running game over these past couple of weeks where Derek has just been, you know, ripping off chunk gains. I guess what kind of growth have you seen from that particular aspect of your running game?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably up average-wise just because we've hit some big runs, you know, and it hasn't all been, you say zone. I mean, there's a lot of versions of zone runs, you know, and like the last one was a toss zone play that we run with a crack block on the edge, and you saw Dez have a heck of a block on the defensive end there, you know. So I think a lot of it's really execution. It really is what it is, and we do. I think our coaches do a really good job of scheming up the run game and presenting it. All the different types of schemes, but even just the zone versions, presenting it different ways. There's different ways to tag it in terms of, you know, how you're blocking the edges, how you're blocking the linebackers, who you're working towards, and that sort of thing. Whether it's an inside zone, an outside zone, a cutback play, a bounce play. And these are all things that are part of it that I think have been put together really well. But really the main thing is the execution. You know, the blocking and the running have made them work.
You talk about that. I'm curious what you see from the tight ends. It looked like the tight ends were really blocking very well in Green Bay. Isaiah likely had a really good blocking day. What did you see from them in that regard?
Yeah, really good, really good. Isaiah was really good on the edge, did a great job in numerous different opportunities and gave them a lot of trouble out there on the edge. But really, I mean, it's a new challenge this week because these guys on the edge are really good. I mean, these outside backers that we're about to go against in Pittsburgh, we know them well. We play them a lot. They know how to get off blocks. I mean, they do a great job of setting the edge and tearing off blocks. Probably as good or better than anybody in the league in terms of the run defense. The other thing they do a great job of is they present off the backside edge really aggressively on your zone run game. So you've got to deal with those guys. That's kind of where it starts. You know, you want to run the outside zone play. Man, you better have a plan for those guys.
John, was the plan to kind of lean on Derek as much as you guys did, or was it, you know, as you saw that the kind of night he was having, you kind of just pivoted that way?
It was to lean on him like we did, you know, I know there's a lot of talk about that, but it's pretty much always the plan that way to a degree. But I would say definitely ramped it up for sure. Conditions and where we're at as a team, you know, where our offense is at, and what we thought was the best way to win the game was definitely Derrick Henry. You know, and then the opportunity was really presented itself because we were having success, and we got plays. You know, so the more plays you have, the more times you can run it. And the more times you give it to Derek, and really the only times he really came off the field were, you know, obvious third downs and when he needed a break. So that's kind of how it went.
John, you guys have obviously played each other a million times. Rivalry is what it is. First time this will be a winner go home game for, you know, these two teams in Week 18. And I'm just curious, I know you're focused on the game, but what do you think of that, and do you know, does that, do you find that interesting or compelling in any way? Yeah, you know, I really didn't realize it until Chad mentioned it when we were walking in the room here, you know. I guess he anticipated your question. And I was like, wow, is that right? You know, I didn't realize that. That's something. And we probably would have thought it wouldn't have been, you know, might have been another time it would have come up. But that's about as much headspace as I can give it. So other than that, it's a division championship game for sure, but it's a game. You know, it's a game. It's in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. You know, we kind of understand that part of it too. So we've got to get ready for all that.
DK Metcalf not being available to them, how does that change kind of your preparation for that offense? Yeah, I mean, you know, you look at who's in and who's out for sure. I mean, obviously, DK Metcalf, you know, that's a look at the trouble he gave us in the first game. So that's you factor it. You factor Washington, whether he can play or not, for sure. Austin, whether he can play or not, for sure. Those are big playmakers for those guys. But then you look at the other guys they have. You know, Gainwell's incredible. Their running backs are just, I think, top of the line running backs. I mean, both those two guys are. Jalen's amazing, you know, downhill, and they get him the ball in so many different ways. They do a great job of getting him the ball. I mean, they'll run a progression pass concept over here. Then they'll have like we call it an escort type of a flare pass, and it's a run play. You know, if they dump it out there, and Aaron does an incredible job of sorting all that stuff out. Screens, they do a great job. And then you've got the tight ends. I mean, they got two tight ends that are legitimate big-time pass-catching threats. So we've got to deal with both those two guys. And then Jonnu, I mean, he'll take it sweeps. He'll get in the backfield and run it. He'll take a pitch, you know. He'll do all that kind of stuff. He'll be up on the edge blocking. And Freiermuth, I mean, you know, really anywhere. You know, down seam routes, middle of the field, you know, quick in breakers, stick routes, option routes, 7 routes to the corner. You've got to be, you know, all over those routes with him. And then, you know, I mean, Valdez-Scantling, you know, he's a big target and a fade and box fade and a crossing route guy, a big body guy, so he kind of fills that role for Metcalf to a degree. I mean, they've got guys. So you game plan for the guys that they have.
Coach, in some manner, is this the way it should be? The NFL decided to make this game prime time, game 252 of the regular season. Knowing the history between these two teams, and it all comes down to just the regular season. Going into this year, I mean, a lot of people thought it was going to come down to the Ravens and the Steelers. I don't know if you looked at it the same way, or look at the way the NFL has placed this game on Sunday night in the same fashion, with the respect of showing the franchises.
I'm sorry. What's the question?
That was absolutely a question.
What's my thoughts on it being the last game? Is that the question?
That and the long-standing history and the fact that the NFL showed you guys so much respect.
Oh, okay.
Placing that
I got lost for a minute.
You had a choice.
It was well said, though. I what you said was really cool.
Thank you.
I was swimming in it a little bit. Yeah, it's really awesome. I mean, I agree with you. I think it's really cool. It's what you want. Nobody was disappointed, that we're playing Sunday night. It's not really it's not forefront of your mind because we got to go play the game, and the game could have been at 4 o'clock, could have been at 1 o'clock, could have been Saturday night, that would have been fine. I wouldn't have really cared. So the fact that it's Sunday night just means we got to wait longer. That's kind of my mindset is like, man, we got to wait that much longer to go play. So we got to set our clock accordingly and be ready, at 8:20 on Sunday night. But all those things you're talking about, I think when you take a step back, especially as a Ravens fan, or in the organization, you got to take a step back and you got to, nod your head a little bit and go, yeah, that's probably the way it should be. We respect the Steelers, their organization, and we respect the AFC North, and so all those things you're saying, sure, I acknowledge that and feel good about it.
Along those lines, as someone who's as versed in football history as you are, was it surprising to you to learn that there's never been an AFC North repeat, and now that you guys are a win away from that side of the field?
Yeah, I've known that for a while. It was a surprise, but then not a surprise when I thought about it for about 5 seconds, because it's so darn competitive. Kind of goes back to what you're talking about. I mean, I'm assuming it's the only division that's the case. I'll bet it is, if we were allowed to bet. So it's something to think about. It's a big deal, but it's a game, So it's like any big game. There's a lot riding on, and there's a lot to earn, But you got to go play a winning football game. You got to go play the type of game that can beat a really good football team in their stadium, when the stakes are really high. And I know they feel the same way, but it's our responsibility to take care of us, take care of our business, play our game the way we play it, and to execute it the way we need to execute it to get the job done. Keep it simple, go play hard, go play well, go play good football. Our goal will be to play our best game of the season, and that's what we'll be really focused on. That's what we have to get ready for.
I know it was an anxiety-ridden watch party, but it was also, I guess, a little bit of film for you guys. Was there anything that stuck out about the Browns' game plan against the Steelers that you guys are drawing from?
Well, you talk all 3 phases, kind of generally. I thought the Browns, their game plan was to probably play to their defense, and that's smart. They did a great job with that. Their defense was up to it, played a great game. Offensively, they didn't have too many mistakes. They had a couple. They had one close call that didn't hurt them. They had another pick, down there in their end. But I'm sure they tried to minimize the turnovers. That was probably a big part of their plan. They did that for the most part. They ran the ball pretty well at times, effectively. But they played a field position game, So, and special teams was solid for them. So that was probably the basis of their plan, I would think.
Is there anything that you feel like can apply to your team, the way you guys are built?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, all those things are going to be really, really important. We're not the same team as them, so, we'll lean on different things schematically. We'll lean on different things probably strategically, But generally, a winning football game, I think that was kind of the basis. I think they tried to shorten the game, That's always part of it, but, you also have to play to your strengths, and we have certain strengths, that other teams don't have, So we want to play to those strengths too.
When you're watching the really tense moments of a game like that, are you still a coach, or are you still in coach brain, or are you a fan at those moments?
I'm in fan mode, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm complaining about the play calls, I'm wondering why they didn't do this or that, what are they thinking? Yeah, the clock management, what are we doing? Just being honest.
John, was the celebration muted? Did you know the challenge that's ahead, or what was the atmosphere like when they finally meet?
It was woke. It was uncorked, man. It was raucous. Yeah, it was great. Everybody was jumping around and fired up and happy. A lot of hugging.
So you talked about the belief belief in the team throughout the week going into that must-win game in Green Bay. What did you like about the emotions that went into that game and really the accountability that the players had for each other too? Just like getting plays done, making sure there were, minimal mistakes throughout, but also in the sense of taking that into another must-win game in a row here.
Right. Well, yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, we've been playing with a lot of energy, a lot of emotion, a lot of physicality for a lot of weeks, and I feel like our team has carried that all season. Like most teams, we've had ups and downs with our execution, and our execution probably was at, for the most part, a really high level throughout the game in all three phases, but not where we want it to be either. So we got to keep chasing the execution. But as far as the other part you're talking about, that the intangible part, I thought that was a really high level, and it has been at a high level, but probably at its highest level. So we need to even take that to the next level too, because it has to go there. This is a playoff game. Then there's after that, it's going to just keep ramping up. I don't know if it's going to get much more intense than it's going to get on Sunday night, but it's in that realm. It's going to be in that realm. So we've got to be ready for it.
John, you talked about, you were asked about job security last week, and if you expect to be back next year. A lot of people are going to maybe look at this game, probably unfairly so, as a kind of referendum between yourself and Mike as the two longest tenured coaches in the league. And I'm just curious if you feel that at all, and kind of just how you view that generally.
Yeah, I just really don't have the space for that. Just not something that you have the ability to think about. It's not important. It was important. It had an impact and a bearing. Then I think you'd think about it. But you think about it because it's always that way. So it's probably all that stuff makes it all kind of interesting and kind of fun and real. It's sports. That's how sports are, and I think that's part of the intrigue of it all. So I feel like really honored to be a part of that. And if I was just being honest with you, I feel really honored to be a part of it. And I know there's always pressure. There's always pressure, but I think it was Billie Jean King who said pressure is a privilege, right? Was it Billie Jean King who said that? And that's something that is earned. So we feel like it's something very worthwhile to be in games like this. And if those are the things that are being talked about along with that, that's okay. That's a privilege too. So let's get to work and let's go try to play our best game. Try to coach our best game.
John, turnovers have been kind of like the key thing in some of these big games, especially in some of the big moments. Is that something that you feel like you need to overemphasize going into this game, or do you not want to spend too much time talking about something you don't want to be an issue?
Yeah, good psychology question, probably. What would be the best way to make it clear and make the point? But it's critically important. Probably couldn't overemphasize it enough, and it's just going to be so important. I mean, the team that wins the turnover battle is going to have a real edge in winning the game. So we know that needs to be us. We need to make that happen. They're having the exact same conversation over there, just like every team that's playing this week is talking about that. But in a game like this, that's it. It's going to start with that. So we got to make that priority one.
John, did you get out of that game health-wise, otherwise?
We got out of it well. Yeah, we're in good shape health-wise. Nothing else that's a major thing, or it looks like it's going to be an issue at this point in time. Hopefully nothing will pop up as the week goes on.
Is Marlon going to have to play with the cast on or whatever it was?
That's a good question. There's a time frame on that. I'm not sure if this week if it's coming off or not. We'll know more about that. I just don't know, but it's going to be kind of in this range, I think. We'll check on that for you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks, John.